What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode on Proven Power Cycles. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Eric. We got Daryl right here, and today we get to play with this bad boy. This Kawi, it does not have that many mods on it, but at least it does have a slip-on exhaust system. So we've removed certain elements of the exhaust system to help free up the airflow. I'm sure you guys can put two and two together. So he has an SC Project exhaust slip-on stock header, OEM chain and sprocket that Daryl's kind of cleaning up right now because the mileage is so low on this thing. And now let me go ahead and put this disclaimer out there. I've been asked this before, and I've heard people kind of yapping in the comments section before about, you know, that you need to do the break-in. Yes, I agree. Bikes need to be kind of going through the break-in process before we do this, but some owners, you know, they really don't care about that per se. That sometimes what we end up doing is we end up doing this tuning and some of these sessions before the actual break-in occurs. But this bike, again, I just want to put that disclaimer out there that yes, we agree you should be doing the break-in before you see the dyno. That's kind of what we do. But what we're going to do on this particular bike, we'll do a little bit of a break-in process already. We've already kind of done a few heating cycles, and not only that, but he's at 29 miles. Wow, he's only at 30 miles. Good God. So anyway, this thing does not have a lot of miles on it at all. Less than 30 miles on the ZX-10RR, and we are about to go through and tune it. So that's pretty cool. Like I said, I do recommend doing the break-in, but in this case, it is what it is. This guy, we've done business with this guy on several of his bikes. This is nothing new with him as far as not hitting his break-in point, because he honestly he likes to go between bike to bike, and you know, he enjoys it when he can. He's a busy guy. So what we're doing right now, golly, this bike's beautiful. I'm sorry, but damn, this color looks good. Woo. Woo. Look at that, man. That green pops. That beautiful gray color. So with that being said, guys, we're going to get this thing warmed up. Daryl is kind of doing a little detail on it right now, but we're going to get this thing fired up. We're going to get it warmed up. We're going to do some pulls on it, see what this thing baselines with. You know, there are some subtle differences between the RR and the ZX-10R. Aside from the marchesini wheels, these are from factory. These are a forged wheel. Aside from those, you have obviously the paint, you have the plastics are different, the paint scheme is different, you have these covers, this is nothing new, and you also have a set of titanium rods, connecting rods, versus the OEM steel rods. So, but with that being said, we're gonna get this thing fired up. We've already tuned to 2024, we've tuned a couple of them, I think. I know for sure we have one on file, but I can't remember how many we have on file. And now we have this 2025 model in here. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. God, I can't get enough of these. I love the ZX-10R platform. These things are beautiful. We're gonna let Daryl actually do the bass lines on them. So I'm just gonna help him out with the clicker. Actually, I think I'm gonna let you kind of test the clicker out and see if you can get the hang of it. Well, it's gonna make a little bit of a rattle noise. That's all right. So guys, look at the hesitation the bike has. And look at the AFR. guys, we got done with the baseline on the ZX-10RR, and the highest horsepower run that we had was 166.69 wheel horsepower and 76 pound-foot of torque. We'll go over all the numbers. You can see that real nasty lean spot right down there. But what I wanted to mainly go over right now, we're installing a Sprint P08 air filter, but I wanted to show you guys the new stacks that the ZX-10RR, what they come with. Now, these are obviously variable velocity stacks. It's pretty crazy. Like, you could see all the glue between these parts here. It looks like it's 3D printed, these stacks, and pretty crazy, actually, pretty trick. So the way it all works, these are not active, of course, with the bike in its stock configuration. What you need to do is you actually need to order a kit ECU, a race kit ECU, and then there's a subcontroller. Kind of odd, but it's kind of where things are going these days, I feel like. So what it's designed to do is basically lower themselves at the lower RPM, and then they would raise up as you go up in the RPM range. But man, this is a crazy configuration now that I'm looking at the whole setup here. That is wild how they made these. Very, very interesting. Extremely interesting. So, and it's supposed to bump up your horsepower up at the higher RPMs with the adjustable stacks here. So just to let you guys know, that's kind of what we're working with. But I just wanted to show you guys that we're going to throw in the Sprint P08 and get this thing tuned up here for our guy. But we already put a base map in, and we're gonna let Daryl make another couple of pulls on it and see what he thinks, because he's still a little newer to the bike game, and he's driven a few bikes on the dyno, and he's not used to this one yet, at least the restrictions and whatnot. So we're gonna let him take a couple rips on it and see what he thinks after we have all this installed and the base map in the bike. So it should make 180 something. So it should pick up about 20 to 24 wheel horsepower here on this base map. But we'll see. Actually, I'm sorry, it'll make a little bit less than that. I did forget a few other little odds and ends I did not go into yet and adjust in the mapping. So we have a base map in the bike now. And like I said, we should see like low to mid 180s just on this initial flash. There are some things that I forgot to do on the initial flash, just letting you know. So let's just see. We're gonna let Daryl kind of feel what the differences are now on the a de-restricted bike. So here we go. Alright guys, we got the ZX-10RR all wrapped up, and it did pretty good. Honestly, it did what I was expecting it to do. So we've already tuned a couple of these, like I said earlier in the video, and so we'll go over the final numbers now, and we'll show you guys the difference. And some of you guys are not going to be surprised. Other guys, you might be a little surprised. So here we go. Alright guys, so let me remind you before we look at all this. The only mods on this bike were the SC Project slip-on and the Sprint P08 air filter, okay? So there are a lot more things to do in this bike, but the final numbers, we ended up with 192 wheel. It actually made 193 at one point, but this graph was cleaner and it looked better, so I actually am gonna just use this graph. But it made 192 with 80 pound-foot of torque, and started with the 166 and 76 pound-foot of torque. So here's the overall curves. Like I said, I personally think, we'll just target here, 192. This is where it basically made 192 at 13.4, 13.5. And then we were here at this 154 mark. So, I mean, it is a good 37, 38 horsepower jump all in all. But, I mean, this is impressive. I can go over this graph all day with you guys, but let's talk about mods. One of my theories on this bike, honestly, is the reason why it doesn't make as much power as it can make is A, the velocity stacks. Those are big, bulky stacks all in the airbox. That's really, really contributing, I feel like, to a lot of air turbulence in that bike. And also it takes up space in that bike. So now your volume is kind of shrinking because now we have these big motors and we have, again, the stacks are kind of in the way. It's kind of odd that you have to buy a kit, a race kit ECU and all the other jazz to get this thing to work. I think it's kind of ridiculous, but I mean, that's just my personal opinion. But all in all, I feel like if we were to swap those stacks out and we were to use a different type of stack, even another OEM stack, whatever, I feel like we could bring that power band up a little bit more. There's still airbox mods to be made. There's still ram air mods that you can make, flapper mod. There's still a bunch of other mods that we could do on that bike to help bring that power band up. Now the other biggie though is that we're able to rev this bike out more so than a normal ZX-10R. So, and that being because of the fact that it has those titanium rods. Now here we're gonna take this is another ZX-10R that was tuned. He had the Sprint P08 F185. And I want to say he had a similar slip-on if I can remember correctly. And look, he made identical power, but what I also wanted to kind of show you guys is that we're able to rev the ZX-10RR out some more. Now, I know we're on the back half here. We're like on this downward slope, right? So we're technically losing horsepower after about 13.7, 13.8. We're technically losing horsepower, right? So we're on the back half of that power band. Now, again, if he were to get velocity stacks or you know, do some testing with the airbox or camshaft profiling or something, we can kind of manipulate it a little bit. We can actually bring this downward slope here up, and we can raise that power band up. So that would help with carrying that power band all the way to that red line, which you're getting an extra 400 or 500 RPM roughly versus a normal ZX-10R. And that's all due to those titanium rods. It's a lighter weight rod. So, but you can see a very fair comparison here for very similar mods on the different platform, on the ZX-10R and the ZX-10RR. So in blue is the ZX-10R, and then in red was the RR. So here's the ZX-10R, and then the red is the RR. So you can see where it makes a little bit of extra power in this mid-range too. Now, again, guys, these are similar bikes with similar mods, but there are many other factors to compare, but I just wanted to show you guys this comparison. So even right here, you know, you making an extra, what, 7 wheel horsepower or so in the mid-range, another 7 wheel horsepower gain in the mid-range, you know, and then another 5 wheel horsepower up here in this higher RPM range. So very, very interesting. It's very interesting to see this, the RR compared to the R, with, again, very similar modifications. That is it on this bike. We're actually going to have it here for the dyno day, so we'll have it on display, the 2025 ZX-10RR, and there you have it. So there are the numbers, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We really appreciate you guys viewing it. Thank you. If you could, leave us some feedback. Tell us what you think about the numbers down below, about the comparison on the RR versus the 10R. Let us know what you think about that. And yeah, guys, leave us any kind of feedback you want to leave us. Let us know how you think we're doing in the videos and all that jazz. We appreciate you guys. If you could, please like and subscribe to the channel. That goes a long way with us and supporting us. And I think that's about it. See you on another episode.